What's up, guys? Mike here again, and we are in the car this time. I've got a weird one for you today, but before I do that, I want to let you know about the other channel that I've got started up. I don't have any videos posted over there yet, but the channel, the basic premise of the channel is basically it seems like the world as we know it is starting to come to an end, and we need to be ready for an unpredictable world, and we need more importantly to how can we ready our children for the unpredictability of what's coming, because I don't think it's coming soon. I think it's going to be a while, but I think we need to, set a good example for our children and prepare our children to be able to live in a world that is a lot different than the one we're currently in. All right, so this video isn't about that. This video is about something really weird that I kind of had stirring around in my mind just here recently. So I've been into really old stuff, and I don't mean really old stuff like the Civil War. I mean really old stuff like dinosaurs and millions and millions of years ago and all that stuff. So I've also been into the history of Homo sapiens and humans and the Homo genus, and so I had a weird thing that just kind of flashed before my eyes the other day about the Bible. Where does the Bible fit into this? I'm looking at the camera. I feel like my camera's a little cloudy. Oh well, I got nothing to clean it, so you'll just have to deal with it. Anyway, let's look at the Bible, specifically the Old Testament, maybe Genesis and Exodus and Joshua. Okay, but let's think about it let's take out all the names and all the specific details of places and people, and let's just think about the overarching narrative. Okay, so our history as Homo genus is a pretty complicated one, but basically it's a story of how our ancestors sort of developed in Africa and then moved out into Asia and then into Europe and so on and so forth, right? So the setting, if you look at the biblical narrative, the setting there it's sort of the same thing, right? We've got in the Exodus, we've got Moses leading his people out of Egypt, which is Africa, and then into the sort of Eurasian area there, the Middle East, which is exactly sort of how some of our ancestral peoples would have migrated, right? Okay. But the story of our ancestors is even, there's more to it than just that. So we are Homo sapien, but we also we evolved. Our early ancestors evolved and grew in a situation where there were other human-like, let me rephrase that, there were other Homo Genesis. I don't know. There were other human-like humanoids around. So like Homo erectus. What's the other one? Is it Homo africanus? Of course, everybody knows about Neanderthals. So there were these other humanoids. Now, if you go back to Genesis and you look, it says that the sons of God bred with the daughters of men, and these are like the men of renown and old, and you might even call them giants or whatever. Well, if you look at some of these other humanoids of the time, like these they're not Homo sapiens, so they would have been different, and our ancestors would have known that they were different. And in some cases, especially with, say, like the Neanderthals and things, they would have been larger, right? And bigger, stronger. So these could have been seemed like giants, or seemed like, the strong men, the men of renown, etc. And of course, the bad guy in the first story of the Bible, or the story of the garden, the bad guy is the snake. And people, I guess it's anthropologists or people like that, have long suspected that the reason that humans are so afraid of snakes is because it's actually in our genetics, and that our ancestors were preyed upon by snakes. And so it's one of these epigenetic type things that's in all of our DNA to be afraid of snakes. And then, so let's say if you go to like Joshua goes in and he wipes out all of these people in the promised land, the land that God has given them and stuff. And there's also people who think that perhaps the reasons that the Denisovans and the Neanderthals and these other humanoid type creatures, the reason that they went extinct wasn't, well, they don't really know why, but they think that one theory of why they went extinct was that the Homo sapiens may have wiped them out. So that sort of goes along with also, Joshua going into the Holy Land and wiping out all of these, all of the people in there in Canaan. But also, you've got reports coming back, oh, there's giants over there and stuff. So if you add in the giants and say that the giants are actually these Neanderthals, could this story be, this is what I'm basically trying to say, is could the Genesis story be an it's not archetypal, it's like a story, like the bare bones of the story. If you strip it down bare bones, this could be, and including the flood in that too, right? And like catastrophic events, extraterrestrial events that caused all kinds of crazy, climate changes and different things on the planet. Could it be that these stories that there's a memory in there, and that all the details are kind of filled in, local person, place, or thing. But if you take all those local details out, and that the bare bones of the story is very similar sounding, and I wonder if it isn't the actual story of humanity, but just with a lot of specifics added to it to sort of make it more relatable for those people. I don't know. I just thought about it. I could be way off on this. But it's just something that kind of stuck in my brain when I was learning all this. I'm like, man, it sounds so much like, it could be relatable or, similar to the same stories that we're getting of our ancient ancestors. I don't know. Something to think about. Anyway, that's all I got for you today. Kind of a short one. Mama is getting ready to have a baby soon, so The videos may be, there may be some time in between some videos. I still try to get as many videos out as I can, but we're getting down to crunch time here. A couple weeks left, and then we're going to have a new one. So we'll see how all that goes. But yeah, does the Bible tell the story of our ancient Homo ancestors? I don't know. Maybe. It's possible.